Who killed masculinity in video games? I want to do a real lore reaction to it. Lore reaction piece.
Does anybody else feel like masculinity has slowly been drained from modern video games?
I don't know if I would say masculinity has been drained from video games, but it definitely has not been a focus of modern video games. We don't have characters like the Master Chief. We don't have the guy from Assassin's Creed. We don't have new characters like God of War coming out, or whoever that was. Who is the guy in God of War? Whoever that is. We don't have some strong MCs that are coming out that are just like over the top, good role models, in my opinion, for young men to look up to. I can agree
I
with
was
that.
looking at recent staff photos of Ubisoft and Halo Infinite developers, and it's all starting to make
Nice.
sense. It's a bunch of fat white liberal women. And white
Okay, so I can already get an idea of where this guy's point of view is. Holy shit.
liberal women have no interest in masculine, manly, male characters. They wouldn't even know how to write one if they tried. This is why Rockstar, a company founded by men that at least in 2018 was still mostly
This
run
guy
by
sounds like my
men,
dad.
created the magnum opus Red Dead Redemption 2,
This talking about like
a game with a
fucking
manly,
women are ruining
well-written
everything.
main protagonist,
We need
Arthur
men.
Morgan. If you want to see the seismic shift away from masculine characters,
Yeah, let's see it.
honestly, all you need to do is play a few games from 2006, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Gears of War, Dom.
Consider how many
Yeah, that's
masculine
right, that's
military
right.
games came out in the 2000s. Medal of Honor, Call of Duty, Brothers in Arms, Gears of War, Operation Flashpoint, Rainbow
Battalion,
Six,
1911.
Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
All of these games were starring men and had themes like brotherhood, duty, sacrifice, honor. Almost all
I'll
of
be
these
right back.
franchises have either been killed off, turned into multiplayer games, or went woke. I often wonder why so few modern games appeal to me, and I think another big reason is this. Everything is just so
Everything
gay
is gay
now.
now. What did I just
Compare
go
the
back
games
to?
I just mentioned to
Manly
the modern
men?
trash we
Gay
have to
men.
deal with in Overwatch and Apex.
Gay.
Almost every character in these new games is either gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans, or something else. Like, what happened to a...
It's not even like we have this back where like a woman fantasizing over a dude, but it's like, can we stop forcing this like weird sexual agenda with every new character coming out? Like, can we just focus on the game and make good character and character development and just a fun game loop? I don't care if my character theoretically is gay, pansexual, or heterosexual. I don't care. I just want a good game. But I don't like there being a focus on the weird sexuality of it.
masculine dude with a hot chick on his arm. I love the idea of Xbox Game Pass, but I swear every time I open it up and look for new games, there's just so many games that look gay now. I refuse to play another cutesy 2D platformer or a game with a cutesy art style by
Then
some
just play some
indie
COD,
developer
bro.
anymore. I'm just done with these games.
Then play
If
COD.
you want my
You're fine.
100% real thoughts on this, I just think the entire video game industry has gone woke and gay, and almost nothing they are making
He has not seen the first Ascendant. The Koreans are making the games the way he wants them to be made.
appeals to me in any way anymore. So this is why I mostly play 20-year-old games on my channel, because they were just better. I was recently reading an insider interview about what went down at Volition Studios with the disaster.
They were better
because
because I think they were just more complete games.
This source said that the LGBTQ community within the company was actually pretty small, but they are the loudest and the most annoying, and the company leadership chose to promote these people into key roles.
Makes
And
sense.
that's how you get the absolute dumpster fire of a game that
Seems
was
like a logical
Saints Row
thought process.
2022. I think what you have at a lot of these game studios is about 80% of the staff is probably just hetero dudes trying to do their job, but they're afraid of speaking up or saying what they actually think.
Honestly, probably. And it's probably all around HR, because HR is just there to keep the company alive, to keep the company afloat. Not really for your safety, not for your human resources. No, but the human resources of the company. And they're going to portray it like they're for the people, but it's really just for the company. And if I guess there's that old saying, if you're an old fart like me, you'll know, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And if the 20% are just this loud, outspoken minority, and the majority isn't being outspoken, or if there's no bridge, there's no compromises from either side, we're never going to get anywhere.
And then you have the LGBTQ folks making decisions about what kind of
Granted, it's very hard to compromise with this. Very hard.
game to make. And everything just ends up being safe and soft and sensitive because, oh, we can't hurt anybody's feelings. So, of course, you get these shitty dumpster fire video games that nobody wants to play. After reading a lot of insider interviews with these developers, this is my sense of what has been happening. I also feel like there's this kind of unholy alliance right now between games journalists, white liberal women at game studios, and the LGBTQ community at game studios.
Hold on. Game Award winner, purveyor of the shitty woke games, insufferable Kotaku editor who gets dragged on the internet every single day. So, okay, got it.
And
Those
they all
have
seem
go
to be
hand in hand that
united
they're in the
around
bed
one
together.
thing. They actually hate gamers. And who are
Or they hate these gamers. They hate dudes, right? Just
gamers overwhelmingly?
Let's see.
Well, heterosexual dudes like us, of course. This recent Reddit thread was written by an actual game developer and made me realize this. It reads, headline,
Am I allowed to say this?
I actually know this. This has gone around on a couple different articles now. I've seen Charlie from Moist Critical react on it, from Zach over on Asmongold's channel. Like, this is a professional game designer, and he's starting to worry about himself hating gamers. And before you think, oh, this post is satire, no, there's a lot of devs who actually think this, who have this certain stigma against gamers, who see this as like a place to grow and get better at, as a skill, as a place of competition. They don't like that. They don't like competition because in their real life, when they were forced with real life competition, they sucked at it. So they're trying to get away from it and program a world where they don't suck at it. But guess what? If it's a competition, they suck regardless. But yet they're the ones programming it. So you have people coming in who are competitive individuals who are going to excel. And I just think these devs, not all of the devs, but the devs who share this mentality, it's a victim loser mentality through and through. I just can't get on board with it.
I kind of hate gamers. I'm a professional game designer, and I'm worried that I'm starting to hate gamers. Watching the gaming events on YouTube last month with the chat on was extremely disheartening experience. Every time a character that wasn't a cishet white man appeared on screen, the chats would fill with messages calling the game woke or complaining about DEI. Every game that wasn't a shooter or a hyper-casual competitive online game garnered zzz and boring comments. I've seen people implying that the MC in Fable trailers is ugly because it's a self-insert of some random level designer working at Playground whom they deemed not fuckable enough. I don't know, it's just the internet magnifying negative voices, I guess, doing what it does best. But it's making me real tired of gamers.
so with this
Once more, I'm sorry for interrupting and like pausing. This is a 13-minute video and I've paused like 427 times now. But I don't think this is also just an issue of just gamers, but a byproduct of the internet. Well, once more, 20% of the people, it's just so easy to dump on shit. But no one realistically, even in day-to-day shit, oh my God, this game looks so great. Look at the little fuzzball. Hee hee hee. Or like, we're not 5 years old. Only 5-year-olds are really going to talk in that positive manner. If you're with your bros and you're with your friends, you guys should talk and troll on each other. So if we see a live stream and you see engagement and a chat flowing and like Z's or whatnot, you just take that as constructive criticism that like, yo, this is not engaging this audience. What we think we're doing is not engaging the customer. And I thought the customer was always right, baby.
At this point, it seems that games journalists and all of the liberal LGBT mafia that work at game studios actually hate their audience. And this is a comment I keep reading from you guys again and again. I swear they literally hate us. They seem to be dead set on giving their audience exactly what we don't want. How long is your business going to be open if you're dead set on not giving the customer what they want? This is why when skanks like Alyssa Mercante are crying about Kotaku shutting down and losing their jobs, and game studios are going under because they were associated with Sweet Baby Inc.
Honestly, wouldn't be complaining as much if games stayed $50. Like no live service. Like if you pay it, like when Call of Duty comes out, you pay your $50 and you get the full game. I think there would be a lot less bitching.
I just laugh. Let them burn. Let all these companies burn who don't know how to give the audience. The wonderful irony in all this is that it's the very games that the woke cancel mob has tried to cancel that seem to do the best. Remember Hogwarts Legacy? Yeah, men who dress in women's clothes tried to get it canceled.
Holy fuck.
Instead, the game sold 25 million copies.
Jump scare.
Remember Elden Ring? Remember how the woke mob tried to accuse FromSoft games of having, quote, problematic depictions of women? Oops, sold 25 million copies. At this point, making an offensive
pretty
game seems
successful.
to guarantee that game's success. We could talk about Stellar Blade, pissing off
Hey,
all
yo.
of the liberal progressives,
Hey,
and yet
yo.
everybody went out and bought it.
I think we need to look at the
Okay,
first
so
to
in the
send
rest
it.
of this video, I want to give you 4 examples of a game or game series going from masculine to feminine or gay, and it basically either killed or ruined the franchise.
Okay.
Number 1, Ubisoft
it
and
laid
Red
out for me.
Storm Entertainment. So Red Storm Entertainment was a video game company founded by the legendary Tom Clancy to make Tom Clancy video games. He sold the company to Ubisoft in the year 2000.
Oh, you're saying not even that? We're paying 50 for completed finished games? Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like you paid $50, you got your full game. You don't have to worry about any crazy DLCs or whatnot. If a DLC did come, it was a small little addition that wasn't crazy, like with a map pack or something along those lines. But now you're right. You're paying $70 or $69.99 for a game that's not even complete. And with every update, you're like, oh, God, it's going to take a day or two for patches to come through because this update's going to fuck up more of the game than it's trying to fix.
And Ubisoft in the 2000s actually had some balls and made some of the manliest games you've ever seen. There were the Splinter Cell games, the Ghost Recon games, the Rainbow Six games. and
Played
the
a lot of
Far Cry
Splinter
games.
Cell.
All
Not
of these
really
games
any
pretty
of the
much
other
feature
ones.
exclusively men, and these IPs in the 2000s
The
had
manliest
so much
games
testosterone,
ever.
just a single glance from a woman in their direction would get her pregnant.
Yeah.
I mean, motherfucking
Flowing.
Sam Fisher, come
Sam
on. The
Fisher.
dude is the ultimate Giga Chad.
He actually
Scott
is, though.
Mitchell in Ghost Recon. Now, you pick your own character in Far Cry 2, but it's definitely a manly game that will put hair on your chest. So what is Red Storm Entertainment up to today?
Yeah, tell me, what are
Well,
they
I
up to?
recently saw that Tom Clancy's The Division Heartland
Mm.
is being led by a man who dresses in women's clothes in his free time. Now, look, I don't give a shit if you want to identify as a dragon and go around laying magic eggs, but can we agree that the least masculine thing on earth you can do is dress in women's clothes? Tom Clancy would be rolling over in his grave right now if he knew the absolute disaster that Red Storm Entertainment had become.
I actually disagree with this take. I really do. I think the dude could dress up as a chick, right, and still understand masculinity. Almost, I dare argue, better than somebody who doesn't understand the feminine nature of it, because he could really complement the masculine side of it. But instead, they're still focused too much on this weird femininity BS and the sexualization of everything, instead of just giving us a good fucking story with a good game around it. That's what I think is missing here. I don't think it has anything to do with people being gay or not.
Number 2,
I'm a bit of a
Wolfenstein.
history buff.
So I was recently playing Wolfenstein
Which, by the
The
way,
New
that
Order
is
for the
early
first
on.
time, which came out in 2014.
Dude, it scared the
And
shit
I
out
have
of me,
to say,
Shane
of
Gillis.
all the games I was sure were going to avoid woke Western progressivism, this game was pretty
Sam
high
Fisher
up
was
there.
the GOAT for sure.
The first 3 entries of the reboot were all fantastic. They had the badass BJ Blazkowicz, an absolute unit, as the main character, ripping apart entire armies of Nazis with the sexy and smart Anya as his arm candy and wife. Machine Game's first 3 Wolfenstein entries, which came out in 2014, 2015, and 2017, are all great. They have normal men and women doing normal shit in them. Awesome. But of
We
course,
gotta look at
the
Halo.
woke mob had to get involved somehow. So you have a beloved series with a beloved, tough, male, manly main character. Do you suppose it's a good idea to kill off that guy and replace him with cringy girl boss characters? Wolfenstein
Yeah, no, I think that's a
Youngblood
great
came out in
idea.
2019, and
Yeah,
it's an
no, it should
absolute
sell, right?
tone-deaf
That should be like a #1 selling game, right? That's what you're gonna tell me? Sold #1 in the charts?
disaster. So many modern video games, I find myself asking, who wanted this?
Is that Michelle?
Who asked for this? I often ask the same thing of the new Star Wars shows by Kathleen Kennedy as well.
That sucked.
The Wolfenstein reboot had the perfect synergy of story and gameplay.
Okay.
You are BJ Blazkowicz, unleashing his rage on the Nazis for killing everyone he loved. You see this come across in his brutal assassinations, like sticking a rusty pipe through the eye socket
Nice.
of an SS Waffen commander. But the setup to Wolfenstein Youngblood is incredibly cringe. In it, you play as BJ's daughters, and they're honestly nothing like him. The first time you kill somebody, they don't really want to do it, and when they finally kill the guy, they have to have lattes and talk about it afterwards. Youngblood is a perfect example of how a cutscene can go so wrong in a game. BJ's setup is perfect, and
Once more, I'm gonna play a little devil advocate here. When it comes to something like this, you could write a story where his daughters come through and he paved the world where his daughters didn't have to, where his daughters didn't have to live in such a tough environment, but something drastically happens to their dad and they're forced in a position to where they have to grow up, right? That is a completely different element than what is just portrayed to us. So I don't think what's more, you can have female dominant roles. I mean, there's some badass females. Can we look at fucking Mulan? I don't think anyone's fucking with Mulan. She comes around every once in Dynasty.
Explains to you
Like,
why
what are
you're
we
doing
like?
the actions
I
you're
think,
doing.
I think, dudes who are making videos like this, I'm with you for like 80% of it, but then that 20% you lose me, and it's not because these people have like tits and are chicks, right? It's not the issue here. The issue is it's just a shitty story that just feels like there's no real consequences and no real action and no real investment.
BJ's daughters, however, are acting like they're in an episode of Big Bang Theory the whole time, but oh yeah, they just happen to be killing Nazis, and haha, isn't this so funny? It's tonally all over the place and just so full of cringy and awful cinematics, which is ironic because the cinematics in the first 3 games were like so good and short, and they got to the point and they were really emotional and impactful. Example number 3, Gears of War. For a full explanation of how
I
the
cannot
woke
wait
mob
for Gears
girl
5.
boss
I cannot
Gears
wait
of
for
War,
the
see my video on
comeback
that
of this.
game, but
It's gonna
I'll
be
keep
great.
this short. The first 3 Gears games are an incredible trilogy focusing on the bonds and brotherhood between men. They are incredibly masculine games, focusing on duty and sacrifice in military orders.
Booty.
And I know some of you hate this, but
Let's
for
go, dog.
10,000 years, it's only been men fighting wars. Sorry. The first 3 games focus on Marcus, Dom, Cole, and Baird and tell a masculine story of brotherhood. Well, the progressive woke mob somehow got to Gears of War, and Gears 4 and 5 are about sisterhood, motherhood, being a traitor, and what it feels like to be a woman.
And
They
okay, I never
introduced the
played that one.
character of
So is it
Kate
Gear
Diaz,
6?
who I don't think anybody gives a single fuck about.
I don't know
What they
Kate.
should have done is put Kate in a spin-off game, not a mainline Gears entry. But here's the problem, of course, nobody would have bought it. So unfortunately, Gears 4 and 5 are
I
basically
mean, it's a badass
girl
game
boss,
with a hot
feminist
chick
Gears
with
of
a
War.
big old
And
booty. I
any
think Stellar
masculine story
Blade
about men is put on the
proved
back
it
burner.
otherwise. No,
Of course, the games include Baird
Like
and
Stellar
Marcus
Blade
in
just
them,
wanted
but
to
they're
be a
really
good
on the
game.
back burner.
and
And
people
Gears
are like,
is
"Yo,
now about Kate Diaz.
this is a good game
who
and
I've
great
never talked to
physics."
a Gears fan even cares about. Moving on, example number 4, the Saints Row reboot. Saints Row spent 10 years building up characters and building up a very distinctive and edgy and male sense of humor. It's the kind of stuff you and the guys would laugh at. Some of the recurring characters in Saints
Okay.
Row are Johnny Gat, Julius, Aisha, Shondi, and several others. In these games, the men are men and the women are women. Johnny is edgy and hilarious and always has a hot chick on his arm. The humor is crude and hilarious, and the Saints are always getting into trouble. So what went wrong with the reboot? Well, the woke 2022 reboot thought it was a good idea to kill off every single character from the old Saints Row games, and I guess they thought we would be cool with that? But don't worry, all of the beloved characters you've come to know and love have been replaced with tokenistic characters from a literal seminar on diversity. You've got the gay Asian man, the girl boss lesbian, another girl boss lesbian, and the gay black guy. The LGBTQ mafia didn't just kill Saints Row, they crucified it on a rainbow flag. And this is what you get, guys. This is what you fuckers get for supporting these people. They turn out shitty
Wait.
games
they're saying the studio closed down. Yikes!
that aren't funny, that aren't cool, that aren't masculine. So stop hiring these
I think
people.
the funny cool part.
Game developers need to stop putting gay stuff in games, and they need to fire every liberal white woman if they want us to ever buy a game again. Because I'm serious, we are...
I don't know if once more you get a video like this and you just kill all the momentum you have behind it by saying something like that, because it's not like all white women or even liberal white women are the issue in this case. I get what I'm picking up what you're putting down, but even with picking it up, I'm like, yo, you're losing me here a little bit on this, just because simply it's about making a fun, good storytelling game and not about those other priorities. If we could stop pushing those priorities, then we're good. It doesn't matter who's in office or who's in charge. Not in office. Look at me.
We're
All
done
right.
with this shit. We're not buying these games. Like, Phil Spencer is out here complaining about how people aren't spending as much money on games anymore. I guarantee if you give us hetero dudes hot chicks in games again and manly men, you will see sales go through the roof. Bring back the glory days of video games. I have this theory
I
that
would
in a
love
few
that.
years we're going to see a turn back to the golden era
We
of video
definitely
games,
are.
and people are going to
But I
start
think that's
buying
going to be
games
with
again.
like
I recently saw this
the
crazy chart from
implementation and the
2023
time with
that
all this new technologies coming out with AI and everything. I think that's what we're going to see new games. Plus, people are going to realize, yo, we need good stories and we need good gameplay.
basically showed that people are only playing old games these days. Nobody wants to play anything that's new out right now because it's all woke and it all sucks so bad. So anyway, guys, let's all hope there's a return of masculine characters in games again at some point that we can relate to. All right, I'm out.
I mean, some of this
Who killed
I
masculinity in
disagree
video?
with. Some of this I just disagree with simply because I don't think it comes down to just like, oh, woke devs hate men, make bad game. My brain isn't working like that. I see the road to hell being, or excuse me, the path to hell is paid good attention, and they're trying to like get more people to be involved and feel like I don't know. I'm losing myself as I'm saying it. I'm like, no, that ain't it. All right, we have 25 minutes before the Joe Rogan special comes out, and let me see. While I'm live, does Netflix? This is what we will be watching. Granted, I'll try to like minimize